These smell absolutely fantastic. I don't think you can beat that. Nothing says Christmas like a good mince pie. Hi, I'm Becca, one of the chefs here at the Waitrose Cookery School. Today I'm going to take you through how to make the perfect mince pies. To start off with, we've got our flour in the bowl, and into the flour we're going to mix in some lard and some butter. So the butter's going to give a really great sort of decadent flavour to the pastry, but the lard is going to help with the texture of the pastry. So initially I like to just cover all of my cubes of butter and lard in flour. The next step we're going to do is squeeze them between your fingers. I'm only really using my fingertips here. Your fingertips will stay a lot cooler than the palms of your hands. So now all of my pieces of lard and butter are sort of flat and covered in flour. The next step we need to do is rub them between our fingers so we get sort of like breadcrumb kind of texture in the bowl. If you try and lift it up out of the bowl at the same time, then you're going to be incorporating more air into your pastry, and that's just going to help with the texture. If you didn't want to use lard or you didn't have any, you absolutely could just use butter. It'll still make a fantastic pastry. I've rubbed in all of my pieces of butter, and I'm just going to check that I haven't got any big lumps. So just give the bowl a shake and any of the big lumps in the bowl will come to the top. At this point you can just work through those just to make sure you've covered every lump there. That looks pretty good to me, I'm happy. Once we've got a texture we're happy with and we've stopped touching our dough, we're going to add in some cold water. So about 2 tablespoons. And you just want to sprinkle it over the top, and then we're going to bring our pastry together just with a normal knife. Just mix it around in the bowl until you start to feel it coming together and into a nice lump of pastry. So once you're getting some resistance, you can get your hands in there and start trying to bring it together into a ball of pastry. You can see mine's coming together nicely now. It looks a little bit dry on the outside still, but that's going to be okay. We don't want to add any more water at this stage and make it too wet. Can the Christmas holidays start now? Okay, so my pastry's come together into a ball. I'm going to wrap my pastry up now in some cling film. So at this stage it is important to work fast. So just get it wrapped up, get it in the fridge, and come back in 30 minutes for your rolling out of your pastry. The pastry's had 30 minutes in the fridge, and now we can roll it out to make our mince pies. So just a little dusting of flour. Do it from nice and high, and you get an even coating of flour on the bench. Then you can put your pastry on top and dust the top again just with a little bit, and dust the rolling pin as well just with a tiny bit of flour, and then we're ready to start rolling it out. So when we're rolling out our pastry, we roll it a couple of times, and you want to keep on turning your pastry as you roll. So you can definitely expect some cracking with your short crust pastry. That just means it's going to have a fantastic texture for your finished mince pies. And we're going to roll out our pastry till it's about 3 millimeters thick. We don't want it too thin because it's not going to be strong enough to hold our mincemeat in the middle there, and we don't want it too thick because then you're not going to have a big enough gap in the middle to get all that delicious filling in. So I've got an 8cm cutter and a 6cm cutter. We're going to start by cutting out the 8cm round pieces of pastry first. So just press down into your pastry and then lift away the pastry dough. I like to work around the edge of my pastry first and trying really hard to get as much out of this pastry as possible. I've got my 12 big discs of pastry for the base of my mince pie. I've brought all my pastry back together, and we're going to roll it out again to get the small disc for the top of the mince pies. They're actually my brother's favourite part of Christmas, so if he's lucky, maybe I'll send him some mince pies. Now we've got all our pieces of pastry cut out and ready to go. So firstly, we're going to go in with the big circle of pastry, press it down carefully into the bottom of the tin, and you want to press it down evenly so that you get the sides coming up to make the little base of your mince pie. So the main aim here is to fill each hole so that you can get in as much mincemeat filling as possible. No one wants a stingy mince pie. If I was going to add some citrus in, I would probably add in orange zest. Just grate it into the pastry. It'll give you a really lovely flavour. Right, now I'm ready for the next stage. We're going to fill our mince pies with that tasty mincemeat. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons to get the filling into my mince pie cases. Obviously you want to get as much filling in there as possible, but it's really important you don't overfill the pastry. 1 teaspoon in each disc of pastry is pretty much perfect amount if you ask me. So I think the mincemeat has got all the classic flavours of Christmas. We've got dried fruit, citrus and lots of sugar. We're ready to put the lids on our mince pies now. So I've got some water just here to help seal the lids onto the mince pies. Just dip your finger in the water and then run it around the edge of the lid. You don't want to get the whole lid covered in water because it's going to make really, really sticky, wet pastry. And then we can pop it on top of the mince pie and join it together. So you always want to work quickly with pastry. You want to try and keep it as cool as possible before popping it into the oven. Fantastic, all my pies have got their lids on now. So one last thing, we're just going to glaze them before they go into the oven, and this gives them a really great golden brown colour on the top of the pastry. So to glaze them, I've got 1 egg yolk and just a little bit of milk. I'm going to mix some milk into the egg yolk and whisk this together to make a glaze for the top of our mince pies. So I'm just going to use a pastry brush to pop my glaze onto the top of the mince pies. Don't worry if you don't have a pastry brush, it works just as well, just using 2 fingers. Just want a light coating to make them golden brown and looking super tasty. If you want to make these mince pies, just click on the link in the description below for the full recipe. Mince pies are all glazed, and one last thing I like to do before I pop them in the oven is just to make a little cut in the top. So I'm going to use just a small sharp knife to do this. I'm just cutting right through the lid so that any steam can escape during the cooking. So there we go, mince pies are all done. I've taken my mince pies out of the oven. They've had 15 to 20 minutes to cook. They've gone nice and golden brown on top, and they've also had 4 to 5 minutes just to cool in the tin. So I'm ready to take them out, pop them on a cooling rack and finish them off. They just need a little sprinkling of sugar. It's just going to bring out all of those sweet flavours in the mincemeat, combined with that really nice short crust pastry that we've made. It's going to be perfect. That's a pretty good mince pie if you ask me. Nothing says Christmas like a good mince pie.